the National Assembly is, how do we restore trust and confidence in the police?
Okay, thanks. I do agree that I'm sure, yes, the committee should look at that. But whether one ends the term, we will never know. But of course, I would want to finish the term. But sometimes it's not determined by the individual. It's determined by somewhere. It's determined somewhere in a little corner and cooked there and said, no, this one must now go. And they will fight tooth and nail to make you to go. So it's unfortunately the situation. But it's something that can be managed and averted if there is cooperation by respective role players.
I'm interested that you use the word they. Who are they, General? Because you are appointed by the President.
Yes, I'm appointed by the President, but you will find that there will be criminal cartels that will go into a little corner, connive, and come up with a case. At the end of the day, whether there is a case or there is no case, the fact of the matter is you have been removed. That is the most important. So, so that's the reality of the situation.
So are you saying that despite the fact, and it's a constitutional obligation on the President, despite the fact that the President makes the appointment of a National Commissioner, it's still subject to outside third-party influence?
Yes, it's subject to, yes, quite a lot of other factors, as I said. The President appoints the National Commissioner and you do the work, but there will be outside parallel structures that would want to take charge of the National Commission. If they can't, they will find ways of seeing how then can we remove him and replace him. So actually from day one, when you get appointed, there are already those that are working day and night to see how we can remove him. So it's not a calling that you are there, you are focusing on solely fighting crime. You are fighting crime, but you are also distracted on the sides. There is many plans day and night that are being concocted on how can we get rid of him. They've got ulterior motives, and if they can't get what they want, they'll always keep planning. If a plan fails, they'll go for plan B, so it continues. Or plan C or D, whatever. That's how it happens.
So, does this take place within the police? Or is it both inside the force or the service and outside? Or is there a combination or a correlation between the two?
Yeah, it's mostly a combination of external and there might be some few inside. So that's how it happens.
Because it seems to be alleged by Lieutenant General Mkonazi that this is the case. The infiltration of the police service and of other sectors of our society, even the judiciary claims, correctional services, the magistracy, that there's this attempt to influence the direction in which the police should go or must go.
Yeah, no,
do you identify with that allegation?
Yeah, some of them I heard of them, but I know that it's not a it's not a sweeping statement to say everybody in the JCP justice cluster or judiciary. No, it will be certain figures that in all areas, be it within the judiciary, some, and even in the criminal justice system, it's not everybody. It will be some few individuals that will come together and do. They go on places and caucus and plan as to what they want to do. So it's not to say everybody is involved. No, it's some small groupings and cartels that, or you can call it a gang, that will plot this. And if that whatever they plot fails, they'll start another one, or another group will start something else somewhere. So yes, of course, the whole purpose is to take control, and which, of course, we are not allowing that to happen. But of course, remember, we deal with people that are sophisticated, that knows what they are doing. So it takes time and quite challenging to get to them, because they know how to play the system.
A big problem in the police is the mechanisms of appointment of high-ranking police officials, that there doesn't appear to be an alignment in the way high-ranking officials, and I'm going to take it to some specific provisions, and that this causes a conflict and could well be the reason that you have some of these issues that have arisen, especially in relation to the allegations that he makes. I mean, the one, I think, fairly obvious allegation he makes is that when people are appointed in the police, just generally speaking, they are not properly vetted. People join the force for various reasons, sometimes only because they need a job. There's unemployment. Other people join because they've got ulterior motives to get into the police. Other people join because there's nepotism. There's all kinds of reasons other than what he says are the right reasons, certainly why he joined the police, and that is to serve his country. So perhaps just that first comment about the sort of proper due diligence and vetting of individuals joining the police. Are you satisfied that proper procedures and processes are being followed to make sure that we have the right caliber of person becoming a police officer in this country?
Yeah, I think we are doing our best, but I will not say yes, all of them are vetted. Let me put it in this fashion. For quite some time, the division that is responsible for doing this function, that is vetting, that is crime intelligence. Well, people planned at some point earlier, the years around 2009, 2010. Most of the systems, especially in the JCPS systems, have been scrambled, and of course, coming from in the previous, for example, the vetting capacity of crime intelligence, I think around 2010, 11, there were not more than 7 people. And if you take 7 people against, well, at some point the police service was 200,000, surely you can see that the plan is for sure that they can't really touch anywhere. And We have since increased the number, but of course they are not yet at the right number. At least we increased the number to vet, but I can confirm that we are not at a stage where we can say we are comfortable. But with regard to our senior management, yes, every year they submit financial disclosures. We do a lifestyle audit internally. Where there are red flags, we investigate them, and we identify risks. So much so that I can even say that the IMSA, which is the risk management institution of South Africa, this year they gave an award to, I think last week, they gave an award to South African Police Service as the best public department in managing and applying risk management. But what then is not yet home is that we don't have the capacity to fully vet the whole 186 workforce. We are still building that capacity. But luckily, with regard to senior management, in April this year, in as much as we have internally done our own lifestyle audit, I approached the SIU, Special Investigation Unit, and they do have a capacity. I said, no, come and vet us so that we can be vetted by an independent body, not that I undermine the internal, but it's best to have it done externally. And we had various meetings, and they will soon be about to start. We have cleared all the shortfalls or problems that were on the way, and there will be vetting. The senior management is about 840 or so. So they will start there. By myself, all the deputies going down, vetting everyone, auditing everyone. So that's what is coming now, which is independent than what we were doing ourselves. And the crime intelligence capacity, we increased last year or 2 years ago, we gave them 300 people. Last year we gave them, I think, another 600 and 1,000 this year. So, and we also said boost the vetting capacity so that at the end of the day, we can be able to vet everyone. But for now, the SIU, they are going to concentrate, as I said, on the senior management. From there, there are areas that we have identified: your financial directorate, supply chain directorate, your port of entries. So there are areas that we identified which they will, after senior management, go in there.
I think we're pleased to hear that, General, especially about the lifestyle audits of senior management, because it's an obvious start that we need to make to ascertain whether or not, quite simply, people are living beyond their means. You're not in agreement?
I am in agreement, Honorable Chair, that yes, that will also look at everyone and see whether nobody live beyond his means, regardless of who you are. So that's the right thing to do.
Except that, how do you do a lifestyle audit of members of the force who are involved in covert intelligence, in covert activities? And some of them, for the activities, they say, no, they must drive a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or live in a lovely house as a front or as a cover for the work that they do. Or is there a special unit that would be able to do those lifestyle audits?
We do have members of the Auditor General South Africa that audit that environment. So now when we involve the SIU also, there will be those of them that obviously we will vet them, and after we vet them, then we'll allow them to get into that environment, understand it, and then be able to vet those. There will be nothing. There will be no limitations. Nothing wrong. If you do your work, you do your work, but they will be able to do the lifestyle audit.
Thank you. Now, I just want to spend some few minutes on the structure of the police and in particular management, and get to this point made by Lieutenant General Konazi about how this creates a tension or a conflict in upper management. Now, if you could just confirm for me that you have appointed, is it Mosekile, Mosokile, who's your head of uniform policing?
It's a Musikidi.
Okay. And then you've appointed Lieutenant General Sabia as the head of the detectives.
That's correct.
But does he, and under that falls crime intelligence, of course, detective services and forensic services?
That is correct, Honorable Chair.
And then you've got, is it Lieutenant General Vuma for police support?
That is correct.
Now those appointments, you make those appointments as the National Commissioner?
Yeah, well, some I appointed, some I found them there.
You yourself, you're appointed, and the provincial commissioners are appointed in terms of our Constitution and the Police Act by the President.
I am appointed by the President, and then I appoint provincial commissioners
In concurrence with
the provincial executive.
That's right. And your appointment would be for a limited period of 5 years, although renewable.
Yeah, it's limited to 5 years, myself and also the provincial commissioners.
But where you make appointments like you have, those appointments are up to 7 years, but no longer than 10 years.
No, the appointments we make, if it's deputy national commissioners or divisional commissioners or any other senior manager, those appointments they don't have a period.
So where appointments are made under the Police Act by you, those appointments for an unlimited period is like a permanent?
Yeah, they are permanent, correct. Okay. Unless whoever the next national commissioner, when he comes, he decides to restructure the police service in terms of the Police Act allows him, and he can then reappoint them anew or take them somewhere else. It depends, but those appointments are permanent. For example, I think with me, like General Vuma, she was appointed by the previous national commissioner with myself as the deputies that time. So, and she's still here now. In as much as we did undertake restructuring, but the restructuring of this tenure now is different to the ones that the previous national commissioners have, where they do a wholesale restructuring. The current one that I introduced was that we address only areas where there is a need. It's not a wholesale restructuring. For example, we have the police currently is national, provincial, and district, and then local. But the districts are very big, very huge, unmanageable for one person. So the restructuring that I undertook now, well, did touch on some of the national components a little bit. Not everybody is affected, but it's more concentrated on districts that are too big. For example, let's take Johannesburg as a district. There is over 40 police stations, or over 60 police stations. Even here in Western Cape, over 40 police stations in the Cape Metropole. So to expect one person to manage those number of police stations is just unacceptable. You can't manage so many. So the current restructuring, which we are still implementing, is focusing more on creating sub-districts so that there are small manageable sub-district reporting to the district.
I want us just to focus though on the sort of most senior positions and to try and explore this issue of a tension and a conflict, because we also see that in terms of Chapter 6A of the Police Act, the Directorate for Priority Crime Prevention, established under the Act, that's a ministerial appointment with the concurrence of the Cabinet for a period of not shorter than 7 and not exceeding 10 years.
Yeah, that is correct, but that is a ministerial appointment, which the National Commissioner have got nothing to do with it.
Now, is that not a problem, that you have nothing to do with it? Given this position, I mean, just briefly described as we can look at the Act, but the Directorate of Priority Crime Prevention is clearly a very critical position, and arguably a number of these offences allegedly committed by certain individuals mentioned by Lieutenant Mkonazi would fall under this category of priority crimes, wouldn't it?
Yes, Honourable Chair, it is correct. The National Commissioner is not involved in the appointment. Well, it looks like it depends, I'm sure, from minister to minister. Some ministers will involve the National Commissioner in the selection of the appointment of the national head of DPCI. Some will choose not to involve the National Commissioner. So it looks like it's a prerogative of the minister. However, yes, National Commissioner is the accounting officer for the whole department. But the legislation do dictate that the national head of DPCI reports to the minister, and the National Commissioner is responsible for administrative support. In other words, budget-wise, I provide, and he will manage the budget and the resources. And determination of posts, he will finalize that with the minister, and On this side, I do provide only support. And if there is insufficient funds, well, there is nothing I can do. But the challenge with this type of configuration is that you are partially accounting for something. You are partially accounting and not fully accounting. So I'm responsible for administration of the organization. But the same law says the national head of DPCI will determine the fixed establishment of the DPCI. He is responsible for mobility of the members, that is promotion, appointment, and so on, independently so. So it is a challenge for me, I would say, to this committee. They should look at it very clear. It's either you have a bread, you can't have half a bread, or at some point you don't know how to manage this. It creates management problems, because at some point I will have a viewpoint on a specific matter, and the national head of DPCI, he will see it differently, and it becomes an impasse and a problem. So I think the legislature should decide. DPCI is part of SAPS, managed under the subs by the National Commissioner, or they are out, they are there independent, and they are managing themselves separately given the separate budget. If I can give you practical challenges, every year we allocate budget. We say so much is for, let's say, posts for, let's say, I say, DPCI will give you 500 posts, meaning my expectation is to see that if DPCI there were 50, and I give them, or there were 500, or let's say 1,000, I give them 500 posts. More or less, I expect them to be 1,500. But after you give them the budget, they go and they take the people below, they promote them up, and they remain 500. And the next year you give another money, they take the people below, they take them up, they remain the same number, and they say we are short. Now what do you do? I've got no powers to change whatever they are doing. So they become like, normally the structure is a pyramid, like the leadership